I stalked a man for 2 years and made him my husband. The first time I saw my husband, I was a freshman in high school. He was a freshman in college. He was walking his dog at the park when he stopped to talk to my brother because they happened to go to high school together. That was the moment I became hooked. That same day I found his Instagram, his family's social media, and also where he lived since my brother offered to walk him home while I tag along. When I got home that day I knew I wanted him, but of course I was only 14 while he was 18. So I came up with a plan. I found out his younger brother was only 1 year younger than me and would be attending my current high school. I figured that I had to befriend his younger brother by any means possible next year when he moves up as a freshman while I become a sophomore, and I did. It took around halfway of my junior year where we became best friends, and he invited me over regularly to his house to hang out. This is where I was able to befriend my current husband's mom, and God did she love to talk about him. From her, I found out what college he goes to, his past girlfriends, what his elementary middle school was, his favorite least favorite foods, his pet peeves, what he likes, etc. Eventually when my visits started getting more and more frequent, I formally met current husband again. I'll call him E. He would come over every other week and stay for either Friday to Sunday or Saturday to Sunday. On those days specifically, I would wear my cutest outfits to impress him and also joke around with him a lot. Eventually, I befriended him as well. A little background on E. He is the school record holder for a certain sport at my school, which I just so happened to do, and around halfway through my senior year he came back during the season to help coach the current high school athletes, which included me, in order to get some more volunteer work hours in. And I got to spend a lot more time with him. I loved every second of it. We were friends before, but then we became much closer since I got to spend lots of extra time with him after school, where sometimes he would even drive me home since we lived relatively close. Fast forward to when I had to move away to NYC for college, he moved with me since he coincidentally got a job near my college. I'm lying, it wasn't a coincidence. I found out he got a job offer and applied to a college nearby his workplace, being each other's only friends in a new state. We became incredibly close. We started dating when I was almost a sophomore year of college. He proposed to me after I graduated, and we just got married almost a year ago. He knows absolutely nothing about how I truly know him, and believes it is fate that brought us together through his younger brother. Lately, I've been debating on whether or not I should tell him, or at least his younger brother, the truth, since the only reason I befriended him was to get closer to E. I feel guilty every time he tells others our love story, because the truth is, I've known him for 10 years, while he's only known me for about 7. I knew it was time for me to tell him, but none of you are prepared for what happened. I told him after the fireworks mostly ended and we were heading back. I asked him in the car, wouldn't it have been weird if we met each other before the first time we actually met? But we just didn't think of each other as significant at the time. He smiled and turned to me saying, PFFT. That's impossible. There's no universe where we would have met and I would not think of you as significant. That statement struck me in the heart, because I knew I would soon prove that sentence very wrong, but I continued on with my plan anyway. What if I told you we have met each other before that time I was introduced as E's little brother's friend? He looked at me like I was crazy, so that's when I pulled over on the side of the road and pulled out my phone to show him the post I put up here before. That explained everything. He took about 8 minutes to read the whole thing, and when he finished, he put the phone down and stared straight ahead. Almost like he was dumbfounded, scared, and confused all at the same time. I started throwing out every excuse and apology I could muster at the moment for about 15 minutes straight when he decided to tell me to stop, and I did. Then he just sat there and sobbed uncontrollably for about 10 minutes before he finally asked me how much of our relationship and how much of my identity was fabricated according to his liking. I told him the honest truth, none of my personality or identity was fabricated for him, except for the fact of how we met. The only thing I ever changed about myself to make him like me more was lying about liking Chinese food. I hate Chinese food, but other than that everything else was real. Although my friendship with his younger brother was built upon ill intentions, my friendship between his brother and I are now one of the most genuine friendships I have now. He just cried and told me that he does not want to divorce at all, but he does want us to have some time apart so that he could absorb the truth that I gave him. He also said that he expects me to tell his brother and mom this Friday because they deserve to know the truth just as much as he did. I told him okay, and we drove the rest of the ride home in silence. When we got home he hugged me and cried for about 5 minutes before he got out the car, packed his stuff. He said that he will be staying at a nearby hotel for now. He said that he knows that he still loves me, but does not yet know how to react to the fact that the beginning of our relationship was very, very orchestrated. Everything was fine up until I woke up this morning to find out that hubby not only lied about going to a hotel to stay at, but also lied about not wanting a divorce, through a text message. He went to his family's home, not a hotel, told them the entire story himself. Probably exaggerated it too to make me seem crazy. His whole family wants nothing to do with me too, claims I'm psycho. He said that he lied about going to a hotel, because he knew if he told the truth I would try to stop him. Honestly, I feel so betrayed. I tried to be a good wife by showing him the true me, and this is what he does? I did all this work just for it to end up like this? Honestly, I kind of deserve it. I didn't even tell him in the first place, because I felt bad. I told him because I had a suspicion that he was catching on to the fact I knew him for 2.5 years before he knew me, largely because I found out he was keeping my old phone in his work desk. My old phone that has screenshots of a lot of his old Instagram posts, plans and my notes app about him, etc. So I guess he never truly loved me if he can't even get past an honest confession like this one. I might update this in a few years when I find a new husband. Am I a psycho?